And there's been lots of commentary, well, with both of us disagreeing with everything, about the community just saying that the game is too fast. And the movement is too fast, all that kind of stuff. And what's your opinion about this?
God, okay.
That's a lot. Begin? Yeah. Where do we begin?
It's just like, okay, so a huge thing that I want to address up front is a lot of people, the majority of the player base, probably plays on console. And the way Battlefield games play, PC to console, they're different, right? The player bases play differently. But that doesn't mean you can't do the things you can do on PC on controller. You can. Like, I have literally witnessed this. Rest his soul, Jordy, he unfortunately passed away. He was an insane player on controller on console in Battlefield 5, doing all the movement stuff that PC players were doing. So these arguments where a lot of the player base is saying, Battlefield was never like this. You can't do this stuff on controller. We don't want any of this movement. I really, unfortunately, have to take the stance that a lot of people making these arguments are actually clueless. They don't know what's possible in a lot of these games because they don't do it themselves and they don't try to figure it out. And that's fine. Like, you can have a casual player base. That's what Battlefield has always been. But I do think we have to have a discussion about how this sort of design is really important to Battlefield. Having a movement system that satisfies all levels, all skill levels, right? Because Battlefield 4, we can touch on this. Battlefield 4's movement system was really easy to understand and was satisfying for all skill levels because it was simple to pick up, easy to try to master some of the basic stuff, but it offered some depth and some real, fairly difficult mechanics to implement in especially CQC gameplay for skilled players to learn and grind and really try to push the limits of, right? But it satisfied pretty much everyone there. Now, you have your people that complain about BF4's movement, but a lot of that is rooted in them dying to it. So
to be fair, I never heard people complain about Battlefield 4 movement until now. That's the funny bit. I never heard anyone complain about Battlefield 4 until now.
It was around. People always complained back then.
Yeah, ignoring the Zuzu jumps and all that kind of stuff. Sure, I get that. But overall, all the movement stuff that I don't know why. Maybe it's just gamers became like that or whatever. But these days, a first-person
the gaming audience nowadays is different.
Yeah.
In general, I honestly
It is
going to go off into crazy. This is going to go off in a crazy tangent.
Might as well.
I honestly think people are just kind of pussies nowadays.
I mean, you're not wrong. Serious. You're not wrong.
Bro, people were playing Quake. Let me just illustrate it like this, right? People were playing these super fast-paced, extremely difficult games back then. You got Quake, you got Unreal Tournament, you got so many of these super difficult games. And they would just play them, and I swear to God, there was almost no complaining. People would just take the game for what it is, be like, yeah, I like this, or I don't like this.
Yeah,
they were fine with it, dude. But nowadays, God forbid you add anything as simple as a moderately quick strafe speed. And here come the people bitching about it. It's like, what?
We don't need...
I think a lot of it is rooted in, anti-fun. These people hate fun. They're so casual that they can't handle, basic movement mechanics, and it ultimately results in, anti-fun arguments.
It just feels like sometimes people want the game to be in wheelchairs. That's why it feels like it sometimes, which I don't understand.
Everyone has a different idea about what Battlefield is,
that's
and
the problem,
everyone wants to change it to their view of the game. Okay, and it's very rarely do you come across people that actually try to discuss it in an objective manner surrounding what Battlefield actually has always been.
Yeah, that's why this podcast exists, people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't understand for example, sliding or fast mantling speeds or whatever. Listen, I understand that sometimes there should be a limit. You can't just go unlimited speed, right?
Of course.
Yeah, you have to find the right balance, right? But there's some arguments that I've seen I just don't understand. For example, there's some people complain that hit markers were in the playtest. I'm like, I'm sorry, hit markers? What are we talking about now? Now you're just taking a piss take.
These people, Mr. Lanky Soldier, I refer to these people as tourists. These are tourists.
I refer to them something meaner than that.
They go on tours, right? They look at they come from other communities. They maybe have played Battlefield a little bit, or they maybe haven't played Battlefield at all. And they go on a tour to the subreddits and the Twitter accounts and the YouTube videos, and they give their opinions about this stuff, and then they leave. They're tourists. They don't actually play these fucking games. They really don't.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, that they either don't play those games, or like I said in the pre-show, I think they literally just play one specific Battlefield non-stop for 10 plus years, and they think it's the best thing ever. And like, sure, you can enjoy your old Battlefield game, enjoy your Battlefield 3, enjoy your Bad Company 2, enjoy your Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, whatever. That's fine. But you have to realize times move on, people move on, games move on, industry move on. There's loads of things that gaming industry did really well. Like, people bitch about Call of Duty, for example, but like, listen, if it wasn't for Modern Warfare 2019 and actually them giving a shit about the movement of the game, how the game feels and everything, I think COD will be dying right now, whatever the case may be. And Battlefield has to adapt to the current times too. Listen, and I love the comments that people say like, oh, this is from COD and all that kind of stuff. Battlefield's trying to be COD. Boy, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to say this. Maybe you were, but you weren't there when Battlefield 3 is about to be announced, and loads of comments were saying that Battlefield 3 is just a COD clone. Battlefield 3.
Yeah.
I remember those conversations. I read those articles. I've seen the YouTubers in the early YouTube days. I've seen those comments, people saying, oh, this is just a Call of Duty clone. 15 years later, we're here now. Now we're talking that this new Battlefield game feels like COD.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sure.
And then you take a look at some of the stuff you could do in games that people tout, like Battlefield 2. I just put out a video. I called it "Everyone's Wrong About Battlefield Gameplay," and in that video, I provided clips of movement techniques you could do in a lot of different Battlefield games. And in Battlefield 2, I linked this video that was demonstrating these super crazy movement things having to do with crouching and proning and standing up and linking all these different animations together. And it was called Z controlling, and it looked orders of magnitude more absurd than anything we had in modern Battlefield games, even 2042. Like, people always complain about how bouncy and cartoonish 2042's movement looks with, like, me using McKay and bunny hopping with a grapple hook and all that stuff. You look at this stuff in Battlefield 2 you could do. The guy is jumping like 6 feet in the air, crouching mid-animation, then he lands prone, then he stands up, and then he cancels the prone animation. It looks ridiculous, but people never acknowledge that was possible in Battlefield 2. And I kind of laughed, because in the comment section, people were like, oh, well, this is an exploit. But if you listen to the person that was explaining how to do this stuff in Battlefield 2, once again, it revolved around basic movement inputs. Standing, like, basically movement transitions, right? Transitioning through prone, crouch, and standing, and then jumping. None of that is exploits. That's literally just stuff you can do with the movement. So a lot of people were saying, oh, in Battlefield 2, you were banned for using this sort of movement. The community servers banned you for using this movement. And I was like, okay, well, the admins are classic Battlefield admins that are banning good players from playing the game in a way they don't like. Like, actual skill issue, dude. Yeah. You can't just say, oh, using this movement that was 100% intended, Because if using this intended movement, we ban players for that. Like, what? Like, you can't just disregard that it was possible and actually used a lot by good players in Battlefield 2, especially in the competitive scene in Battlefield 2, which, of course, no one ever wants to talk about the fact that Battlefield had a competitive scene.
Oh, don't get me started. I'm one of the people that pushes for competitive Battlefield, because Battlefield is like the perfect game to have a competitive scene. Like, it's the perfect franchise for that almost. It can be anything it wants to be and still have the Battlefield feeling to it, but the Battlefield community is not ready for this conversation, unfortunately.
They haven't been ready for the conversation in a long time, but it's